The New Orleans Saints just got some really good news before training camp. And if you're new to the channel, we're Detroit Lions fans, but we have this channel talking about teams and stories that just don't get the love like they should nationally. This is a perfect example of that. The New Orleans Saints, you're talking about, I guess, in this time of the year, as you get into training camp, you're talking about the new players, rookies, you're talking about new free agents. But what was said in the media recently is like, man, that is really encouraging if you're a New Orleans Saints fan. So, our center, Frank Ragnow, who's highly regarded, and some believe that, and most people believe, he's a top 3 center. There's been a lot of articles, believe me, we've been covering it, that people believe Frank Ragnow is the best center in the league. He went on a podcast just recently, and he said, he was asked, who does he look up to, or who does he look to emulate their game? And he said, I really like Saints center Eric McCoy. And so for Frank Ragnow to come out and say that is really interesting because, again, Frank Ragnow, 27, 28 years old, let's just say he's the best center in the National Football League. And for him to call out a current player that's about the same age, maybe a little younger, in Eric McCoy, is somebody that he really looks up to and tries to steal things from and really likes to emulate his game and likes the way that he plays, is such good news if you're a Saints fan, because you look at this roster, knowing that this isn't a coach, this isn't media, this is a peer saying that Eric McCoy is really good. We know Cesar Ruiz is good. Cesar Ruiz couldn't even unseat Eric McCoy, right? So you got Cesar Ruiz, Eric McCoy. You've got a good offensive line. You've got the running backs. Quarterback, we'll get to that in a second, but you got Olave. You just re-signed Rashid Shaheed. We'll get to that in just a second as well. Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill. These guys have another year in them. Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill. So the offense is there. St. Brown, there's a lot of question marks around him that I still believe he could be a good player. He's had some weird stuff, some injuries. He's playing on the Bears. Justin Fields can't get him the ball. The coaching staff's weird. Come on, he could be good, and we don't know it because the Bears have been so weird over the last 3 years that St. Brown has been there. So the reason I say that is because you got 90 men on the roster. You're going down to 53. Start kind of condensing, and this is an ESPN depth chart. It's accurate, but also, who knows? So there could be some changes, some different things, of course. But my point in this is, if the offensive line is good and can be good, then Derek Carr is good. If Derek Carr is good, now the running game's working. Derek Carr, running game, now these wide receivers, guys like St. Brown are playing better. And it's just like, okay, there we go. And, and again, it goes back to Eric McCoy, who the Saints traded up with the Miami Dolphins to take him 48th overall in the 2019 draft. So again, you've got Frank Ragnow, the Lions center, talking about a younger player and how he's so good and likes what he's done. And just a couple years ago, he signed a 5-year, $63 million contract. Now he's got some weird stuff, right? Where he's been injured a couple times. It's like, oh man. So if he can stay healthy, he's really good. He replaced Frank Ragnow on the 2024 Pro Bowl game. So he's made a Pro Bowl. He's got a big contract. This is your anchor player that, if you're a Saints fan, you have to be really excited about. And again, like I said, on this channel, we cover things that the national media wouldn't talk about. National media is really obsessed with Derek Carr. We're obsessed with quarterbacks. Can he do it? Where's he at? And it's like, he can absolutely do it if the offensive line is good. Then from there, it all kind of goes together. So again, switching gears just for a minute, speaking of Derek Carr, his help, Rashid Shaheed, they agree to a new deal today. And it's a 1 year, about $5 million deal. Kind of makes sense right here, about $5.2 million deal. He was an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler as a returner last season. So you get your returner back, and you also look for him to maybe do a little bit more on the receiving side of things. It'd be nice. It would just be nice. That's all. But again, it's not like he wasn't doing anything on the receiving side. He caught 46 passes for 719 yards and 5 touchdowns and rushed 7 times for 37 yards. But if you're a Saints fan and you're looking at, okay, how do we be better this year? And you're in a division notoriously known for teams coming out of nowhere to win it. it's like we need that offensive line. We need Derek Carr. We know that. Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, do something this year, please. And these receivers, like, let's go. Shaheed, make something happen. St. Brown, be somebody. Because again, you go down to defense. Cameron Jordan's still there, unbelievable. There's players on the defensive side. Again, if you're looking out into the future, I don't love it just because there's some older guys, Tyrann Mathieu, Cameron Jordan, Alvin Kamara. It's an older group, but in a lot of ways, who cares, right? Because I mean, because again, the NFL changes so much, it doesn't matter. It's like this year, can the Saints turn things around in a division that's wide open? It just is. It's just always amazes me that the NFC South is kind of wide open constantly. And they're like, there's never, not to say never, but there's rarely a team that just takes it and just runs with it for 4, 5, 6 years. It's constantly changing. So make a run at it and go for it. And by the way, I didn't realize you had our old buddy Will Harris. So if former Lions player, fascinating player that rooting for him, he's 28 years old. He is now in your cornerback safety room. He's a unique player because he can never really get on the field because he's not good at anything, but he's good at a lot of things, if that makes sense. He's not really good in one area, but he can do everything. So he's a safety, he's a corner, he's a nickel corner. He can play everywhere. So it's funny. I had no idea. I just seen him now, Will Harris. Wow. There he is. Kool-Aid McKinstry. There's some talent here. And it's like, let's go. This division is not crazy. So let's make it happen. If I'm a Saints fan, it's like let's win the division, get a home playoff game, and let's go. I mean, that it's not as easy as that, but it kind of, you know what I'm saying. So again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're new to the channel and first time kind of watching this, we do stories typically about teams that are being just overlooked, and it feels like the Saints are overlooked. You can see on our channel, do Buccaneers, do NFC South, a lot of NFC South teams because they're all just kind of overlooked. The division as a whole is kind of overlooked. You talk about in the NFC, the big divisions out west, Rams, Niners out west, the NFC North with the Lions. The East always gets a lot of pop. A lot of people talk about it because of the big markets and the Phillies, the Dallases, the Giants. It's like, get that out of here. Let's talk about teams that nobody's really talking about. So again, let me know your thoughts in the comments on this one. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and we will see all of you on the next one.